Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over some teams with the Goblin King. I have countless times said that Goblin King is not that good of a troop. He is one of the weaker legendaries, but he does have some purposes. I figured I'd go over it since it is the event week for him. He is in the event key drop pool. I do not really advise getting it unless you need him for the purpose of upgrading Zajane's Kingdom Stars, or just for completionist purpose, just to have him laying around. But you don't really need to spend event keys this week. There'll be plenty of better weeks in the future, but I will go over some teams for people who may have him laying around, who may have gotten him from a glory key or from other purposes. So we have two teams we're going to be doing here. We'll start with the first one. First one, we're primarily going to be doing around the fact that he removes gems. He is one of several troops that is capable of doing so. His full ability is he gains 5 life, removes all of a chosen gem. He gets HP based on that at a 2-to-1 ratio based on how many he removes. So if he removes 5, that'll be 10 HP total for him, 5 from the static 5, and additional 5 from the boost ratio. And then he summons a goblin, and that's based on his magic. And of course, it's also capped out based on how upgraded your goblin is. So if your goblin's only upgraded up to a rare, and he happens to have higher magic, it would only be a level 16, because rares can't go higher than level 16. As far as traits, it's the main reason why he's actually pretty bad. He doesn't have any good traits. He just has immunity to poison, which will help make sure he doesn't take any HP damage, which with how high of HP, doesn't really matter if he does get poisoned, which he can't. Regeneration, which will just help him get more recover some of his HP. And the Goblord, where he gains 20 life for being in the last position. You don't have to use him in the last position. Obviously, it would be a complete waste if you did trade it up this far. You actually don't need any trace on him, and he'll be perfectly fine. But you can use him in pretty much any location. I just tend to use him in the back because, of course, we might as well get the 20 if we can. But he is commonly used, if not in the back, in either the second slot or the third slot, kind of just as a tank. Normally in second slot, I would say if you don't have any traits on it, would probably be optimal. Right now I'm just using Kristarnex because Kristarnex has Stone Skin, so it'll be able to tank there. We do have Astral Spirit up. I'm just kind of waiting until we can get a nice spot on the board. The main premise of this entire team is just to keep removing gems until we can get really nice looping going, because we have 3 things that remove. We have the Astral Spirit, we have the Kristarnex, and we have the Goblin Lord. And if the board's ever getting too bad for us for whatever reason, we can just use, or we just don't have anything to do, we can just throw the Dragon Soul, and then that will clear the board for us, so we can start casting the rest of them however we want. But we have a lot of remove. We should be able to keep it on our turn for a good amount of time. If not that, we'll at least be able to get some really good boost ratio going. So we'll throw this down. We also have 2 different summons. We have Kristarnex that can summon, and we have the Goblord that can summon. So we really have like infinite tankiness. That's also why I put the Astral Spirit up front, since it doesn't really matter, since we'll be able to just keep getting all of the summons we'll ever need if we happen to lose it. And it has empowered, so we can get up really easy. But yeah, general premise of really any team that has more than one troop that can remove from the board is just to keep taking out. Oh, I should have taken the yellows there. Oops. Just keep. Well, we got the extra turn anyways. But just keep taking out colors and try to get the entire board to be as much as a color that you need as possible, and then you'll just keep looping extra turn after extra turn, and it works out pretty well normally. Very few things can really counter this out. It does take a little bit longer to win battles, most usually. And once at this point, once we have a pretty decent board step, which we're starting to get to. Oops, I was hoping we'd get an extra turn there for this goal. Looks like we did. But you do end up looping pretty substantially, and he'll just take whatever. We will have to clear the board out now because he's getting a bit too much, and we don't have any manas at the moment because we missed the 1 loop there. Oh, he gets a ward. That's a little bit annoying with its tankiness that it now has. We haven't even gotten to cast the Goblord off yet, have we? He's a little bit blocked all the way back there. Poor thing. We'll see if we can. Let's actually clear the board. Let's get him to summon a Goblin. Put that up there. Of course, Kristarnix could do the same thing, but we might as well get him doing so. We could actually win right now, but let's get him to summon a goblin. But yeah, it just summons a goblin at whatever level you have it up to based on your ascension on it, and it comes in with all of the traits. Most people tend to have a goblin traded as it is. Out of the 3 troops that you get when you first start out in the game, it is the better of the 3, and most people tend to already have it upgraded and everything. Traits are kind of average. Nature Link is really good on it though. Human Slayer rarely ever gets used, and Groody is just a little extra gold. Yeah, he just gains an extra turn and then does a bit of poke damage. Pretty good for doing the last hits on troops. I did just take the purples away the previous turn to summon him, or sorry, the greens. So we weren't able to get him any mana, but we can just win with 3 star nexus we could have done the previous turn. And now let's show him in an all-goblin team, because I always say whenever I say goblin teams, it's like, oh, never use a, oops, queen map, never mind. Well, never use a Goblin King in a goblin team. He's actually the only goblin that, oh, goblin versus goblin, sweet. Okay, he's the only goblin in the game that does not automatically gain an extra turn from casting its ability, which is one of the big downsides that it has. Of course, it has board control, so that board control has a decent chance of getting an extra turn, but he doesn't directly automatically get an extra turn, which is one big drawback that he has that doesn't make him as viable as the other goblins, because that's the main premise that all the goblins really have that goes for them, is it doesn't really matter too much what the ability does. They're all already going to get the extra turn. Like you can see right here, Goblin extra turn, Hobgoblin extra turn, Goblin Shaman extra turn, and Hobgoblin extra turn. So I meant Boar Rider. Did I say Hobgoblin twice? But yeah, all of them get an extra turn. You can see extra turn, extra turn, extra turn, and extra turn. Whereas Goblin King over here, nope, no extra turn to be found. Other than if you get it by the board control itself. We'll just poke manas. As with many goblin builds, we'll want to start getting our Goblin Rocket up, as Goblin Rocket has the best board control that we can possibly do between the goblins. He gets the explosion, which will not only generate us mana, but we can get quite a few different things to align based on his ability. It looks like he's getting a lot of green right now. I may have to remove green because he needs green more than we need green. So I'm probably going to block that if we can soon. We'll get the blue and purple out of there. We do need blue. I'm going to be needing that for the web and tangle from our Snot Helm. Snot Helm is actually a really good disable. I don't tend to use it that much, but it definitely has a lot of purposes. Whenever anything comes into the game that will be extremely magic dependent, he's pretty good against that. Actually, there's already quite a few that are pretty magic dependent. Most people don't tend to set it as their defend team, so things like Crimson Bat, Draculus, anything that hits all enemies, things like those are extremely magic dependent, and Snot Helm and pretty much anything that can do web is a pretty good counter to it. Snot Helm in particular, because he gains an extra turn, so you don't even need to worry about the turn loss at all, because you just get it right back. But we'll take our manas right there, get both of them up. We'll cast the Helm first. I'll probably tap out the Goblin with it, because he just tapped out our first slot. One good thing though is that we will be able to summon a Goblin there, so we'll be able to kill his Goblin and then summon a Goblin on top of that. So we'll just take him out right there. I probably should have done Goblin King, Goblin Rocket first, because if we could have hit it out with that, that probably would have been more efficient. But we'll just throw this here, hope for some reds. I'm doing this before I take the yellows, so we can actually use the yellows. If we did in reverse order, we would just waste those 4 yellows right there. And of course, we don't want to do that if we can just take them. Take our greens here. Do we get a red drop? No, we don't, but at least we get enough mana to be able to cast it. And Sir Snot Helm, I'll probably throw out the Hobgoblin out of everything on this team. I think, actually, no. We'll throw it in first slot. We'll get the Entangle effect too, so we'll just throw it there. Goblin Rocket. Where do we have a Goblin Rocket? We could take reds, I guess. Always nice to try keeping the Goblin Rocket up. Might have also been pretty good to go for the Goblin King right there. We'll just bait out skulls. He's entangled now, so I definitely want to aim for that Goblin King. We can get a Goblin up front. He will block us on greens, but we already use so many greens that we're kind of already blocked. So blocking it a bit more won't make too big a difference here. So we'll do it right here, get our purples, I guess. Be able to get that off of the Cascade. Double purples. Oh wait, never mind. Our thing died. I don't need purples, but at least the Cascade goes really well into a map. 8 times, 9 times. 9 times Cascade, so didn't do what I thought it would, but at least it did something good. We do have our remove now. I do want to hold on it though. Since we don't use purple, I guess we could name it at purple, but the only problem is we don't really have a need to use it on purple right about now. So we'll just throw that down. Don't want to really use it on blue either. Trying to look for a drop. Doesn't even look like we can get a good drop anywhere. So maybe we'll just use it. Just remove the few purple. It doesn't matter too much his boost ratio because he's not gaining much out of it. We'll just get that for the goblin up front, and we can start poking with that whenever we want to. Okay. So we'll take those skulls right there. Drop those down. Get a nice little skull pair. And there we did leave the blue, so there's definitely plenty that we can use to get Sir Snothelm up if we want to. We'll just keep going for Goblin Rocket though. Out of everything on this team, we definitely want to be going for him whenever we can because he can just fill into anything else that we might need mana for. And perfect, he gives us a huge blue right there, some browns as well. Before I do want to cast his ability so we can take those other blues. I'll aim. Now the entire team is now webbed and entangled. Nice. We'll take that. Come on, skull in this general area. Ooh, one off. So we can't do that, so I'll probably just manually take the skull. And we'll just fill up the rest of that mana if we can. Definitely. Actually, there's only one location. No, well, we have to go for that then. At least we drop into green, which will give us our goblin that we summoned. And if I'm not mistaken, that's enough to kill it out. Yes, 27 damage, so we'll swipe that over. Again, actually, fail again. I should have probably done the Goblin Rocket. I forgot it has 26 damage, not lower than that. I was seeing the 23 and thought it was like, oh, it's only 23. But it would have actually been better if we did the Goblin Rocket first because there would have been a 2 out of 3 chance that we would have gotten a kill with it. Now we only have a 50% chance that we will get a kill, which of course is not as good. We'll just throw that right there, I guess. I should have probably taken that first goal instead. But yeah, we end up missing it with only the 50% chance. We'll throw the goblin down that we just got up. And I guess we go Goblin Rocket mana. If in doubt, go Goblin Rocket. And he'll get the Hobgoblin up right there. Well, I guess, again, go for the Goblin Rocket. And there we go. That's all the mana we need. We have plenty of extra turns, so we'll just be able to take that out. That's also one of the reasons why I was deliberately dodging all the Queen Mabs. Queen Mab is, or fully traded Queen Mab anyways, is the hardest counter to goblins in the entire game of Gems of War. So you do want to watch out for those. Anything really in general that has the capability to freeze, you do want to try to avoid when using a goblin team because they can be really, really, really annoying. But there we go. Those are some teams with the Goblin team. Definitely not the worst of worst. Most of my faults that I normally say with him is he tends to be too slow of a troop. He's really, really tanky. But as you can see right here with the Kraken, he's really, really bad against Kraken because, of course, he has more of a benefit if you put him in last slot, and Kraken is just going to devour it, 40% chance to devour the last troop, and you're essentially just feeding something like a Kraken. There's a lot of things that can counter out a Goblin King. I don't know for sure if he's being reworked in the 3.0 patch that's coming within the next month or so, but I would definitely think that they would be. Anyways, that would wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.